and welcome to Red Gaming Tech for your daily dose of the latest gaming news with myself, Amata. Today is the 15th of October and I'm bringing you yet more news on the Xbox One, as Phil Spencer has spoken about Xbox One and PC crossplay, saying how a symbiotic ecosystem where devices such as the Xbox One and the PC are able to interact with each other makes a lot of sense. Now, this was during an interview with OzGamer, and Spencer was asked whether Windows 8 and Xbox One could host cross-platform play between the two platforms. And he said, quote, "I'm not allowed to leak things, but I think what you're talking about makes a lot of sense." And he also spoke on previous attempts to bridge the gap between the two platforms, and this is most notably described with the ill-fated Shadowrun and, of course, Microsoft's more recent efforts. Now, he said, quote, "Now you have differences in Windows gaming and console gaming around control and input. In fact, if you go back to Shadowrun on Xbox 360, something I worked on, we had PC players playing against Xbox 360 customers. We didn't have tremendous success with that, but we learned a lot from it. Then, earlier this year, we released Skulls the Shogun, which was a game we launched on all three platforms on the same day, and you could start on one platform, save the game to the cloud, and then play across any of the screens and progress. And then Halo Spartan Assault has some links between Halo 4 and Spartan Assault, even though they're very different games." Now, Phil Spencer does believe that the industry as a whole is gradually accommodating a cross-platform dynamic, and claimed that Xbox Live is key to the future of this. And he said, quote, "This connected ecosystem across all the different devices is definitely where I think the future of gaming is going. You don't have to do it as a developer, but you have the capability, and I think a system like Xbox Live across all those screens where you know who someone is and who their friends are, what their achievements are, and their progression is really critical to that." Now, in theory, Xbox One and PC crossover makes perfect sense. However, there is one problem that's not really going to go away anytime soon, and that is the difference in input method. Now, of course, Phil Spencer did touch on this a little bit in his quotes just now, but I've said this before, that if you have, say, for example, a first-person shooter, and you have PC and Xbox players fighting off against each other in the same round, the PC players have an advantage. It's as simple as that. It's simply because not only could they have possibly like a dual monitor setup or something, which in theory you could have with a console as well, to be fair, but the main thing is that they will have a keyboard and mouse, and most likely the guys on the Xbox won't. Now, of course, as I said in the previous video, the Xbox One will be supporting third-party keyboard and mouse peripherals, but of course you can't count on every single person having that, and even if they did have it, would they really want to use it for that game, when usually with a console game you want to sit back, relax and just play, which is fine. So if you've got someone on a mouse has more precision and just better aiming than a gamepad does, then more often than not the PC gamer will win, or at least give themselves a huge advantage, because, well, they have the more precise control method. Now, that's not to say that a console gamer can't win against a PC gamer on the same game. They're just at a disadvantage. So even if cross-play were to become a big thing, and it might in the future, I think that it would still be limited to certain types of game. Now, Skulls of Shogun, literally there was no advantage regardless of the control method that you were using, because of the type of gameplay. So it really depends on the game. Whether FPS or even a third-person shooter, it's going to give an edge to the person using the better control method, just because of the nature of the game. So I think it's going to be on a game-by-game basis. Not every game is going to work on cross-play. For example, just to give a really weird and out there example, if, say, Hearthstone was to come out on console, which in theory it could, obviously there's no advantage to anyone, because, you know, that's a card game. It doesn't make any difference, and that's fine. But as I said previously, FPS, personally, I don't think that really works if you have PC and Xbox players against each other. That doesn't really work all that well. I mean, instead of having PC versus console, you could have maybe a mix on each team, but still, it does, I think, in my opinion at least, vary on a game-by-game basis. Of course, if you disagree, I would love to hear from you. Always good to get some discussion going in the comments section. Anyway, that is me done for this video. I hope you've enjoyed it. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.